especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never
some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices.
Boxing pros accuse Canelo Alvarez of using steroids ahead of the Terence Crawford fight, sparking concerns over his sudden muscle growth and past failed PED tests. David Benavidez also weighs in, questioning why Canelo avoids fighting him if he's truly confident. He points out that 5 members of Canelo's team have tested positive for steroids, alleging the entire camp is dirty, including Canelo himself, adding fuel to the controversy surrounding the upcoming fight.
boxing fights of all time, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me. Especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never got off steroids.
You think he's on steroids?
Of course. How does 5?
You saw De La Hoya
How do 5 people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids? You know what I mean? All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
I seen Eddie Reynoso on my fight, so we made a joke. He said like he came to watch me the fight and shit. And then they're like, "Oh, you think he's?" In my head, I'm like, "What do you think Eddie Reynoso's thinking about? Is are we gonna fight David Benavidez after seeing this fight?" In his head, Eddie Reynoso was like, "Fuck no, we're not fighting him."
Yeah, of course. Yeah, honestly, I don't blame Canelo. It's fucked up because there's a lot of money.
It's not even about the money. It's not about the money.
Yeah, but okay, 100 million, dude. You kidding me?
The first step when you're a fucking warrior, bro, the only thing you think about is glory. I've never thought about money. I've been smart. I'm negotiating my shit. But it's always a prize, bro. It's always, if you go out there and beat Canelo, bro, I'm a legend. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend. That means way more to me than any type of money.
Yeah, and I think that separates you too, David. And I admire that shit about you. I was like that at one point.
Yeah.
How much you give me?
Yeah.
and not to just bypass him. Shout out to Morel as well.
Yeah, shout out to Morel.
Eddie Reynoso's gym is under intense scrutiny amid accusations that he personally provides fighters in his camp with performance-enhancing substances. This includes Canelo Alvarez, who trains under Reynoso and has faced steroid allegations twice before. Critics note that multiple fighters from the same gym have tested positive, fueling suspicion about the training environment. As Canelo readies for his fight with Terence Crawford, many are questioning how he continues to bulk up so quickly.
Pressed serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. At a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero had said, certain point in time your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not gonna get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not. If by 55 years old, I'm not. The only way I'm gonna get up to 260 of muscle is if I'm.
Observers point out that gaining large amounts of muscle naturally in your 30s is extremely difficult, yet Canelo's current physique looks noticeably bigger than before. This has fueled further speculation, especially given Reynoso's camp's history. Fans and analysts are now questioning whether Canelo's transformation is natural or if PEDs are once again quietly influencing the outcome of major fights.
If for a 30-year-old, right, you remember, your body grows, men's body can grow in height and length up until to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length. In your mid-20s, you know, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Joe Rogan's remarks about Canelo Alvarez have ignited serious debate in the boxing world. As a veteran commentator on physical performance and combat sports, Rogan noted how unusual it is for someone in their 30s to bulk up this quickly, emphasizing that natural muscle growth slows sharply with age. Yet Canelo has defied that trend. For Rogan, this isn't just suspicion, it's science. He believes such a sudden transformation is nearly impossible without assistance. And when someone with Rogan's expertise and influence raises doubts, people pay attention.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices, but I'm a Triple G fan, so I'm a say that ahead of time. I just like Triple G.
There's a lot of money on the line, and if I could get away with it, I would do it as well.
Some tainted beefs.
I think, well, he definitely got busted once for something, but it could have been from tainted beef. We don't know. But it also could be that, we should probably leave them alone and let them do whatever they want to do. Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao fight or not? Right? I want to see him juiced up, fighting at 45 years of age, coming in with a full six-pack, lighting people on fire.
As the Canelo vs. Terence Crawford fight approaches, talk of steroid use is growing louder among fans and analysts. Many say they wouldn't be surprised if Canelo were using performance-enhancing substances. The logic is straightforward. He has access to world-class facilities, nutritionists, doctors, and recovery tools. With unlimited resources and a strong drive to remain on top, the temptation to take shortcuts can be hard to resist. Critics argue that the environment around Canelo provides every opportunity to use banned substances without facing immediate consequences.
What up, everybody? It's your boy MC from MCTV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak and is going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it. He's pretty much a billionaire. He has access.
Floyd Mayweather has never shied away from speaking his mind, especially about Canelo Alvarez. He has openly raised the issue of steroids, claiming that many are simply too afraid to address it. According to Floyd, boxing has a double standard. Some fighters face heavy scrutiny while others get a pass, and he believes Canelo is in that protected group. In his view, promoters, broadcasters, and fans avoid questioning Canelo because of his status and marketability. But Floyd isn't afraid to call it out, stressing that steroid use isn't just cheating, it's dangerous and undermines the integrity of the sport.
But what we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. Y'all don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
In the build-up to Canelo vs. Crawford, the accusations haven't just come from analysts. Fans from both camps are trading PED allegations. Crawford's supporters question Canelo's size and power, while Canelo's backers doubt Crawford's endurance and performance at a higher weight. The tension has grown so intense that both fighters agreed to undergo extensive PED testing before the bout. These tests aren't just for the officials, they're meant to reassure the public. The fact that both sides felt compelled to prove their clean status speaks volumes about the current lack of trust in boxing. Passionate as they are, fans still demand transparency, and the ongoing PED debate has forced both camps to respond.
Canelo and Crawford are strictly and consistently doing random data testing in order to silence each other's fanbase and their critics ahead of their showdown this September. Now, despite this being a normal thing, the gravity of this fight brings in more attention to their test results, partly due to the fact that suspicion regarding both men have been up as of lately, namely Crawford's sudden bulk and jump to 168 and his close relationship with Snack and Victor Conti, and of course the recent PED scandals being associated with Team Canelo, as well as him once testing positive for clenbuterol 7 years ago due to contaminated meat. With that said, both men have been doing random testing since June and will undergo strict and consistent random tests up until they finally meet next month. Now, it's worth remembering that despite all the recent allegations for Canelo and Crawford, both fighters have been consistent.
Canelo Alvarez didn't always resemble the powerhouse he is today. Early in his career, he was smaller, faster, and fought more like a natural welterweight. Over time, however, his transformation has been striking. Now he's not only facing bigger opponents but overpowering them. This shift has sparked speculation about how he managed to bulk up so effectively. Critics question whether such growth is natural, especially given his age and the sport's physical demands. While some credit elite training and discipline, others remain unconvinced.
I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68-pounder. He probably really should be at 60, maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. At like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, to feeling of somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavy and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now. But I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Nico Ali Walsh, rising boxing talent and grandson of Muhammad Ali, shared his thoughts on Crawford's preparation for facing someone as big and powerful as Canelo. He stressed that Crawford isn't walking blindly into a size disadvantage, he's addressing it with careful, intelligent preparation. According to Walsh, Crawford has been sparring with much bigger fighters to adapt to the kind of power and pressure Canelo brings. He views this not just as bravery, but as smart strategy. Walsh believes turning risk into opportunity is what separates great fighters from good ones. By tailoring his training to mirror Canelo's strengths, Crawford is honing the exact tools he'll need in the ring. For Walsh, this reflects the calculated mindset of Crawford's camp. They know the challenge ahead and aren't leaving anything to chance.
With Canelo before Canelo's last fight, but then after Canelo's last fight, it seems like it's more 50-50 now. So everything is just the build-up for that fight is just going to be absolutely magnetizing. Like that fight, it's garnered so much more buzz after Canelo's last fight, and Bud is Bud. He's one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. He is one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. So it's going to be a fight. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Have you sparred any of them?
I haven't sparred Bud yet. I haven't been in Canelo's camp. I've met Canelo a few times. I love Canelo's team. Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But I have to be Team Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud, and I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he could do anything he wants.
And being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are, in your opinion?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, and that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow boxing. You can see.
Respected boxing journalist Dan Raphael explained that Crawford is taking this fight not for the paycheck, but for history. Crawford wants to be remembered not just as a champion, but as a legend willing to take the biggest risks. This matchup isn't about safety, it's about legacy. Still, Raphael acknowledges the massive challenge ahead. Beating Canelo will take more than skill, it will demand near perfection. Every mistake could cost Crawford the fight, and from ring IQ to physical durability, everything will need to be flawless.
A marvelous boxer, arguably the best in the world, pound for pound. But can you hurt Canelo? If you can't hurt him, I have no doubt he can outbox him. My issue is, if you can't hurt him, what kind of a challenge can you truly pose? What do you say to that?
No, that's a great point. I mean, here's the thing. Canelo Alvarez has a historically great chin. Now, I go way back when he first came to the United States and started boxing, and he found himself on an HBO pay-per-view undercard years and years ago, fighting against the older brother of the great Miguel Cotto. His name was Jose Miguel Cotto, and he had gotten a ton of hype. He had signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and a lot of those of us in the media. And I had seen him a couple of times before that. This is my first time seeing him in person, really paying close attention. And he almost got knocked out in the first round. And I remember Stephen A., all of us looking around at Media Row going, what the heck is this all hyped about? This man can't take a shot. He's going to get drilled. He was lucky that the fight was over, that the round was over in round 1, or there might have been some much more trouble. Stephen A., that was like, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago. I've never seen him wobbled, rocked, physically, visibly hurt since then. He has an all-time great chin going in the ring with tremendous punchers. Terence Crawford coming up 2 weight classes, do any damage? Yeah, he's a slick boxer, and he's also a good puncher in the welterweight division, in the junior welterweight division, in the lightweight division. But even at junior middleweight, which is where Terence Crawford had his most recent fight back in August, when he moved up and he won a world title, he didn't blow the doors off. He fought a very tough, solid opponent named Israel Madrimov. He gave him a good fight. It was very close. Madrimov's people seem to think he might have even been able to edge it out. But if you can't hurt an Israel Madrimov at 154, what the heck are you going to do with Canelo Alvarez, the sturdiest guy in the world, at 168? So that aspect of it is certainly a problem. You mentioned about Charlo. Charlo was there to get his check. I know one thing about Terence Crawford. He's not going to just come to turn up to get the check. He'll at least try. And Charlo, I don't think, really tried.
What sets Terence Crawford apart is his ability to control a fight without relying on brute force. He dismantles opponents with timing, skill, and intelligence rather than sheer power. Whether fighting orthodox or southpaw, Crawford dictates the pace and forces his opponents to adapt to him. This versatility makes him a nightmare for power-based fighters like Canelo. While Canelo may hold the advantage in size and raw strength, Crawford's mastery of distance and movement helps even the odds. His likely strategy will center on avoiding dangerous exchanges and exploiting Canelo's slower footwork. For Crawford, finesse isn't just a style, it's a weapon. Against a fighter known for knockout power, staying out of danger while landing clean shots is crucial. His adaptability keeps him unpredictable, and unpredictability is something Canelo has historically struggled with.
Somebody whose style is based around being the bigger guy, being the stronger guy, but Crawford is a very cerebral, very technical boxer, and I think that's why I'd never really considered this before. But also, I didn't actually realize until I sat down properly and thought about this, just how much weight Crawford has been piling on when he gets into the ring after the weigh-in. And look, these are not numbers that are out of the ordinary, but he's obviously cutting himself down so much in camp from whatever his walking around weight is. And it must be muscle that he's taking off. And perhaps that's why he's only fighting once a year, because there will be some fat, of course there will be, but the dude is not overweight. The dude still looks pretty ripped from what I've seen when he's not in training camp. However, there's not that many photos of him with his top off when he's not actually in training camp. So it's really hard to tell what his body composition is when he's walking around at these big weights. But the fact is, his fight night weight was 169 let's just call it 170 pounds, which is huge. Absolutely huge for a 154 pounder. Especially, it's just shocked me that he's come up from 135 and now he's still putting on that much weight. He's rehydrating that much at 154. And indeed, to bring us even closer to the modern day, the thing that was posted, and again, this is the second time we've seen this, is why I'm kind of thinking there's a bit of a theme here with Crawford posting his weight when he's not actually in full training camp. On February the 9th, 2025, he posted an Instagram story and he showed himself weighing 186 pounds on a gym scale. Now, that's so much bigger than I imagined Crawford would be. I never thought this guy would walk around at 186 pounds, which for anyone who needs the conversion is just over 84 kilograms. And now look, it's not an unthinkable weight for someone, but for someone who has fought as low as Crawford has, who is generally as lean and as in shape as Crawford is.
Marcus Brown, who has watched Crawford up close in the gym, dismisses the idea that Crawford is intimidated by Canelo's size or strength. He explains that Crawford has long been sparring with much larger fighters, some built like heavyweights, and has handled the pressure with ease. This experience, Brown says, gives Crawford a level of comfort most fans don't see. He's already used to taking bigger shots while still executing his game plan. Brown adds that Crawford never appears flustered or panicked in these sessions, staying calm, focused, and tactical. That combination of mental toughness and preparation could be the key to withstanding Canelo's power.
Going with Crawford. Typically fighters, they don't want to say who they want to go for because, they don't want to be biased. Yeah. And much respect to Canelo, but I'm going Bud.
Is there a particular reason why? Like, you're a guy that's moved up in weight, so you know exactly what it feels like to get hit by these bigger guys. Is that something that's going to play in the back of his head? Like,
of course.
Gotta watch out.
It is, but it's not. Because at the end of the day, it's not like he just been in there, got in there with somebody bigger than him. He's always probably been sparring with bigger guys. You know what I'm saying? It's that boxing IQ, which William Skull didn't put up no fight, but he showed somewhat of a blueprint to get this guy, in a space where he's confused.
Yeah.
And he can't touch his target that's in front of him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned.